We love a schedule. We love a draft. So let's do a schedule draft. Coming up next on the PHLY Eagles podcast, way before overtime, with Zack Berman, Fran Duffy, and some schlub. Welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast presented by TrueMark Financial. It's regulation time with Fran Duffy and Zack Berman the day after the schedule was released. Zack, we had a fun time talking about it with Cuz last night. Fran, what were your reactions to the Eagles schedule as it came out?
Yeah, I mean, just was on the edge of my seat, biting my fingernails, waiting for the schedule to come out. No, I mean, it's good. It's always to talk through it. Not that I hate the schedule.
I love the draft and I hate the schedule.
That's exactly what I was saying to myself in the mirror as I was, just sitting and waiting for
all of a sudden you turn into Eeyore.
I didn't say Eeyore. I just don't get as excited about it as everything else.
Look at all these cool social media unveils of the schedule. They spent a lot of time on these.
I don't think I ever once said that.
Zack, how you doing?
Great. Excited for the show. Looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Anything about the schedule that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about last night?
Yeah, so the Minnesota Vikings are 8-1.
Got some leftovers.
At home,
we got
two
some
of the past 3 years. There's a piece up on allphly.com where I give some of my thoughts and some nuggets on the game. Ed Barkowitz has a piece up on allphly.com with some nuggets on each team. So you can find out some thoughts there. I enjoyed the show last night. I thought you put it well. I don't subscribe to this view that like the Eagles got screwed.
No, but I do subscribe to allphly.com.
There you go. I do subscribe to that. I don't think the Eagles got screwed in any way. I don't think it's like a crazy bad schedule. I don't think it, we knew the opponents. Yeah. It's a difficult schedule because of the opponents they play. The sequencing of games. Look, I don't love the, as I said last night, the extended time after, on the extra weeks, right? You don't want going into a Monday game when you have the extended time, right? You have that Thursday game, you have that Friday game. So I don't love that part of it. And then certainly the Washington in 3 weeks and Giants in 3 weeks, twice in 3 weeks.
So dumb.
I would have liked if they alternated that.
Insane.
But but it's not. It's not like the Eagles are well rested for a lot of games, a lot of their challenging games.
Yep.
The road trips aren't horrible in terms of the sequencing of them. So
I think it's laid out pretty well for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Given the schedule, the strength of the opponents. Okay, so we are going to talk about the schedule on today's show. We love a schedule. We love a draft. So we're going to draft the outcomes of the schedule for the Eagles. We'll get into the specifics of that in a little bit. We are also later in the show going to announce where we're going on the PHLY road trip in conjunction with Philly Sports Trips, and how you can enter to win 2 tickets to join that road trip to one of the destinations. We'll announce that later in the show. But we do have a little bit of front office news, Zack, that you can fill us in on.
Sure, and I haven't independently confirmed this yet, but this is Brandon Hunt, the Eagles. He's an executive with the Eagles going to the Las Vegas Raiders, joining Anthony Patch there, where he will be a vice president of player personnel. So Brandon Hunt's been here for the past 3 years, I believe, and is someone who's respected behind the scenes, came over from Pittsburgh. When he was with the Steelers, he was mainly on the pro side. With the Eagles, he did both pro and college. I've met him a number of times, and I know people who know him, speak very highly of him. This is the time of year when there are front office changes.
Yes.
Similar to the Anthony Patch thing, this is a promotion. This is an elevation. It's not like defections from the Eagles front office. You want to see people advance their careers, and Brandon Hunt gets that opportunity.
You would have interacted with him a little bit in the building. Fran, what are your thoughts on the departure of Brandon Hunt?
Yeah, it's not surprising. This is a guy that, as Zach said, he's gotten a lot of praise from people, not just in the building at NovaCare, but also just around the NFL with what he's done so far in his career. It's a nice bump for him. He goes from being a senior director to being a VP. So yeah, I think this is a guy that's on the GM track, and so I'm happy for Brandon.
And you think about Spytek himself originally came from the Eagles tree, so there's some they didn't work together with the Eagles, but there's some overlap there that he did work with Patch. How do you feel about the state of the front office underneath Howie Roseman at the moment?
I mean, they've done a good job of elevating and keeping a lot of talent in-house. And so, I don't know that, the senior director, I'm pretty sure Brandon was senior director of scouting. If that position had said, I don't know that they need to elevate anybody into that role because they already have a number of directors already there that are, homegrown talent, right? You have Phil Baya, who, came up through the system. Amina Solomon came up through the system. So I think you might see maybe one of the assistant directors get promoted up to director. Okay. But again, they've done a good job of keeping a lot of those quality candidates in-house.
What is your understanding of the way that the Eagles organization and working for the Eagles is viewed from other teams around the league?
What do you mean? Like in terms of?
So if I am an up and comer with a different organization and I have an opportunity to join the Eagles and I'm calling around, what am I going to hear about what it would be like to work for the Eagles?
I think it's positive, especially when you look at the last 5 to 10 years.
And you want to work for a winning team, first of all.
Yeah, you want to work for a winning team. I think Howie Roseman has done a really good job of I mentioned the homegrown, talent that they've got in that department, but Brandon Hunt, Chuck Walls, those were guys that came in from outside and have come in and have found success. And Brandon got a title bump and obviously has gotten that promotion. You have guys like Dave Caldwell and Matt Russell that have been brought in that were high-ranking officials elsewhere. And so I think when you're looking at it, there's a wide variety of voices and people that you can learn from. It's a good environment, and like you mentioned, the winning certainly helps. And then also too, Jeffrey Lurie, they're not going to spare expenses for the most part when it comes to the amount that they put into that department.
I'm frankly surprised that the front office hasn't been poached more during these past 4 years. There was a period there when the Eagles were losing a lot of executives, but that was kind of that from the 2017 team.
The Ian Cunningham, Brandon Brown cycle.
Exactly. Yeah. Since this latest stage of Howie's career, so let's say from the Sirianni era on, they really haven't been poached, and they've had a lot of success building this roster. Alec Howlby, someone who's interviewed with multiple teams. It surprises me that given the success that Howie's had,
me too,
a team hasn't tried to hire him. He's been Howie's right hand, or he's worked closely with Howie for 2 decades now. John Ferrari's he's a very bright guy, but he's not necessarily dealing with the player personnel side of it in the same way Alec is. But even below that, Brandon Hunt gets this promotion, but those guys haven't had this during the past 2-3 years. That surprises me. There have been other front offices that have been poached more, and like Jake Rosenberg, someone who's a talented football executive, left because he kind of saw he was blocked in Philly, and I'm surprised that he hasn't been picked up somewhere else. I know he's working on the college side now.
Yep. Yeah, there are some interesting parts about just the way that the league operates on that front, because there is less turnover with GMs than there is with coaches, right? Yep. And then once you get to a certain level, there are fewer places for you to then leave for, right? So it's limited a little bit in that capacity. But yeah, I think I am surprised as well. I mean, what organization over the past 4 years would you want to borrow from more, right?
Yeah, and you look at it, the Rams, the Niners, and the Bucks are 3 organizations that have kind of had the most executives poached, if you will. And I mean, I think the Eagles have done a better job than each of those over the past 4 years.
There is, I would say, one other part of the reputation of working for the Eagles that you hear from around the league is, I mean, it is a good place to go for your career, right? Because you're going to learn a lot of things, and there are people who get poached there eventually. It is, you have heard, a little bit more difficult from a personal standpoint. Like, there is a lot demanded of you, and maybe the interpersonal things are sometimes left lacking, although I do believe that has changed a little bit in recent years.
I think so. Yeah, I think that, over the last 5 to 7 years, I think that's definitely tilted back the other way.
I'm not necessarily sympathetic to that part of it. I mean, I think everyone wants to enjoy where they go to work and the interpersonal dynamics, but you're there to do a job. And I think that the Eagles, in the Eagles organization, you're entrusted to do a job. I think.
So wait, hold on. You are not. Which part do you object to? You object to not.
He doesn't think people should have fun at work.
You don't think that people should be treated well.
No, I'm saying not that they should. When you frame it like that, not that they shouldn't be treated well. I don't think it needs to be like a kumbaya environment, where I think that you're there to try to build winning football teams. Like that's the nature of the job.
Yeah, but I would have thought. You would object more to. It's not so hard to just treat somebody with respect.
Well, yeah, definitely. I agree with that part. It's not so hard to treat people with respect. I guess we're having two different conversations here. I don't think it needs to be like a fun workplace is my point.
Yeah, we're not talking about, happy hours here.
Okay. That's kind of how I interpreted it, right? Like happy hours, corporate retreats, things like that. No, you're there to build a winning football team. That's what you get paid to do.
All right. Well, what we are here to do is build a winning roster of correct predictions. And this is the Conflewdince Game, the second annual, and it is important for us to now look back for the very first time on last year's Conflewdince Game, which was between me and Zach, which was a head-to-head. We were just picking results. And Zach...
I forgot this existed.
So did I. And I found it in my Google Sheets. And I got to say, you wiped the floor with me.
There's a first for everything.
Well, yeah, you were. Of course, you were Pollyanna. You picked more wins than I did. So,
Pollyanna.
You had...
They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah.
It's not being Pollyanna.
That's why well, it was then.
No, that's just having foresight. That's seeing talent. It's
you had...
I thought Saquon Barkley was a good player.
Correctly. You had a win over the Browns, a win over the Giants, a loss against... No, you had a loss against the Bengals. Whatever it is. You went 7-2. I went 4-6. I don't know how those numbers work. You beat me.
Okay.
So you are the defending champion. That means you get to decide, do you want to pick first, second, or third in this game? And it will be a snake.
I'm going to go first here.
Okay. And then Fran, as the newcomer, you get to decide where you pick.
I will take number 2.
Okay. So the rules of this game. There are 17 games on the Eagles schedule, but we want a nice, even balance here. We want to have a nice 10 draft roster for each of us. So we're going to draft the 17 regular season games. We are also going to draft the wild card round, the divisional round, the championship game, and the Super Bowl. And we're going to redraft 3 of the regular season, or it doesn't have to be regular season, but any of those games after they've already been drafted. And what you are drafting is the result of a game. So the first pick, Zach can say, with the first pick, I am drafting that the Eagles will beat the Giants in week 6. And that's his draft. And so if later we want to say the Eagles are going to lose that game, you can draft that. And for the playoff games, you can also draft they're not going to play in it. So that's the difficulty of the playoff games. You can draft win, lose, or don't play in it. And we have to say the wild card round, if the Eagles have a bye, that counts as don't play in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's if they're knocked out or they're the first seed, that's it. And then if we remember, which is not a guarantee, we will look back at this game after the season to see how we did.
1 year from now.
Any questions?
I'm sure there's so much I don't understand here, but we'll roll.
I don't think that I did the best job explaining that.
I thought it was,
but it makes sense up here.
And your brilliant mind, that's how a lot of these games are. I think part of your advantage is you invent the rules.
But it's a good way to frame.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the easy games? What are the difficult games? What's the easiest game?
There is no one better at framing devices than you. I say that with respect and envy as well.
Best device framer in the city.
That's a downgrade. All right, Zach, you get the first pick.
My first pick is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. So I have the 14th game here. So is that week? I didn't put the bye on here. So 14th
week 15.
Game, week 15, 14th game of the season. I think that the Eagles are the superior team. They're at home. I know they're on a shortish week.
You're drafting a win or a loss?
Oh, I'm sorry, a win.
Okay.
A win over, of course, I'm not the Pollyanna here, right?
Yes.
A win over the Las Vegas.
Importantly, we are not drafting the games we think the Eagles are most likely to win. We are drafting the games you are most confident in the result in either direction. So you have to announce whether it's a win or a loss.
Yes, exactly. I'm most confident in the Eagles winning this game. I don't really like this Raiders roster. I do like Pete Carroll, but yeah, I'm not sold on their offseason moves. I thought they should have had a little bit more of a reset, which they didn't have. And I just think, as Anthony said last night, I think Howie's going to have a little something for Chip in this game.
I was going to say, how do you feel about the coordinators?
So Patrick Graham's the D coordinator.
Yep.
I always liked the Patrick Graham. Went to Yale. Smart guy.
Well, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, smart guy. And then Chip Kelly. I think Chip Kelly's a really smart offensive mind, and I've always thought that going back to Oregon.
Yep.
Syracuse should have hired him back in 2010 or 2009. They were interested, and Mike Bellotti actually stepped down so Chip could become the coach. Syracuse was interested then. It's one of those sliding door moments in Syracuse history.
Oh my gosh! What
We should do an episode on Friday, like Friday in June, on the sliding doors moments in Syracuse football.
Yeah, we'll get into the LeVar Lupdell class. Yeah. So I'm not sold on this Raiders depth chart. They're coming west to east.
1 o'clock game for the West Coast.
Yeah, 1
team.
o'clock game. Give me the Eagles here.
Do you have any favorite Chip memories? We spent a little bit of time on Chip on the show last night.
You know, here's what I'll say about Chip.
Your voice has risen.
No, here's what I'll say. I did we did obviously a lot of X's and O's content.
Yeah.
And he, more than any coach I worked with in 12, 13 years, was like he loved just coming down and just doing an X and O segment every single week. It was like, yeah, like I'll do it. That's fine. Any other coach, you kind of had to like twist their arm, get them in, it's just 10 minutes. He was like, yeah, I'll come down. I'll do it every single week. Win or loss, like no complaints. Yeah, that's how I'll give him a lot of
And the
credit
flip
for
side was any other media obligation he objected to.
Yeah, but that didn't affect
okay.
me.
Yeah, of course.
Selfishly,
that
did not affect me. So yeah.
Okay.
I got along with Chip. I respected Chip. I think Chip could have handled things a lot better. But he and I caught up about a year and a half ago, and like there are Chipisms that I use with my son that I learned from Chip Kelly. And so no one's perfect. Everyone's three-dimensional, but Chip had some redeeming qualities as well.
Okay. All right. Over to the three-dimensional Fran.
Yeah. I'm going to go an Eagles win in week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys.
Interesting.
That's my 10th one. Okay.
The Raiders were 5 on my list. So I had 4 ahead of them. To me, I just don't envision a scenario where they lose this game. I mean, they smoked the Cowboys in the 2 games last year. And I know that was without Dak Prescott, but I think at the end of the day, this is just a far superior team. I don't envision them losing this one. So give me the Eagles. I think they always come out hot. For this week 1 game, I think they come out and they look good against Dallas.
Interesting. Nice.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni's 4-0 in season openers in his career. Yep. So I just want to tell the audience here, and I'll tell some of my fellow media members too, if they don't tackle to the ground in training camp, if they have a day off here and there in training camp, like they know what they're doing. I think if they lose early in the season, it's not because of their training camp schedule.
But won't it be nice when after not tackling in training camp, when they have that first, it's like, they could finally,
hit somebody from the other team. Oh, it's not football until you hit someone from the other team. Oh, gets me going just thinking about it. All right, I'm gonna be the buzzkill here. I'm gonna be the bad guy, and I'm gonna say the thing that I'm most confident in here, odds wise, that the Eagles don't play in the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah. I should have gone with that one. Odds-wise, that's a good one. Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry to be the buzzkill.
No, that was the Super Bowl. The postseason was a late addition to my list, so that's a good one.
And so that is my listen.
It's the safest one.
Certainly prove me wrong, but the odds of them getting there again, pretty difficult. So I'm going to take don't play in the Super Bowl, and then we will use that as a nice depressing way to send us into the break, and we'll come back with some more exciting stuff on the other side. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And this local Philly artist proves it. Each piece is made entirely from handwritten words, like every eagle forming the link and every Philly shaping Citizens Bank Park. It's not just sports. He's captured Boathouse Row, Reading Terminal, the Philly skyline, the Jersey Shore, and more. We are talking about unforgettable gifts for sports fans, grads, housewarming, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any occasion. He started selling art at the K-Lot and Rice's Flea Market and credits Philly fans for launching his career. Available for dozens of teams and cities as well, there is something for everyone. These pieces are total conversation starters. You will spot a name, then another, and soon everyone's reliving their favorite sports memories. He's been featured on the Today Show, ESPN, and TED Talks. Check it out at artofwords.com. That's artofwords.com. And if you use code PHLY at checkout for 15% off your purchase, that's what you get. We've had a few here in the studio. They are awesome. They will look great wherever you put them. Big fan of Art of Words.
We'll now hear from our friends over at Monarch Money, because we know that finances can be messy. Finances can be confusing. Finances can be stressful. Well, Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so that you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and your goals. Don't just manage your money. You can start building wealth with 50% off your first year for all of our listeners. Now, I've dabbled in the Monarch Money app. And when you start to look through all the different things you're spending money on, first of all, there are like streamers that I forgot, like, oh yeah, we are paying for this. Like, I either need to stop paying for this or like start utilizing this more. And then there was also another one where we had a company that does service around our house that we had two different accounts set up with. And it's like, well, what are we doing here? Is there a way to consolidate this, or can we eliminate one and keep the other? These are the kinds of things that can happen when you sign up for the Monarch Money app. Start managing your finances to build the life you want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for busy lives. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code PHLY.
A couple super chats to get to before we get to round two here. But Zach, this is an exciting day at PHLY.
Yes, we have the exciting mics up. You'll be able to see it on the PHLY sports feed. The first episode debuted today. You saw on Anthony's show, Cooper was on with Reed Blankenship. So the exciting mics, of course, Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship. They were very excited that they're doing they're doing their show right there in our studio. I was able to get that one right.
Yeah.
Right over there. Was at their first two tapings, and excited for them, right? This is not everyone can podcast. I've learned it's a skill, like Malcolm Gladwell says, you need 10,000 hours, right? And they're working at it. They're committed to it. It's a fun show. They have good perspective. On the episode out today, they'll take you behind the scenes of the Super Bowl celebration, the parade. There's a lot of good nuggets. You get to know their backgrounds a little bit more. You find out how Reed Blankenship proposed. I bet you're a sucker for a proposal story, right? Yeah. So check that out. We're excited that they're a part of the All City family right now. All City's our parent company. And you can find it on the PHLY sports feed, in addition to the Exciting Mike's page as well.
And I won't tell you who the guest is in the second episode, but I will tell you the professor is going to hate it. So also,
Anthony mentioned it last night.
Oh,
so if you watch every show.
We did talk about that.
Yes,
we did talk about that last night. Okay. Yeah. We have a couple super chats before we get to round two here. Claire says, Bo, Peckness migrate the Hall of Fame chances for Chase Utley, Pete Rose, and Shoeless Joe. Now, is this how I would put them in, or the actual chances of getting in?
I think it's because you're wearing your Cooperstown shirt.
Okay.
I believe that's what it is in reference to.
Bo loves a Cooperstown.
Yeah. I like a Cooperstown. If it is their actual chances of getting in, man, I really hope that Pete Rose doesn't get in still. It's like such a gross thing for Rob Manfred to do. So I'm just gonna go with my heart here and go Utley, Shoeless Joe, Pete Rose.
And it's a heartless thing because of his transgressions.
All of them, yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. And the reason I ask is there was a good column from Dan Wetzel on how the Hall of Fame is a museum. Like, that's what it is. It's a museum, and museums are not always it's you're chronicling history, and history is not always just the warm and fuzzy stuff, right? It's the bad stuff too. So it's a museum, and I thought it was a compelling conversation. If I'm seeing a museum about anything, I
you
want
are
the truth.
allowed to put something in the museum about Pete Rose. There are things in the museum about guys who are not eligible to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame. That is a difference.
Okay, fair enough.
It is a museum. You can Barry Bonds is in the Hall of Fame. There are things about those players. That doesn't mean that you get to be enshrined.
Okay.
And also, where's the line now? Like, just because you died.
Well, that is the.
And we're also gonna cast aside the gross things that Pete Rose did with minors. Like,
I'm definitely not casting that aside.
I understand that we are partners with the league in these gambling things, but he bet on baseball. You don't get to be in the Hall of Fame. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
He's not a victim.
Depending on who you ask.
Give me a break. The museum argument I find is completely hollow.
Okay.
You're allowed to do both. Conan, who you got for the PGA, Bo?
Seamless transition.
I did lay a little tiny bit of hooch on Scheffler only because I figured he was not being talked about as like the prohibitive favorite this week. I thought maybe the odds would be a little bit better than you would otherwise get them with him this week. Looks like he didn't have a great round one, but we'll see how that plays out.
And that's in Charlotte, is that right?
It is, yes. Okay. Dynamite. CDP with another question says, which coaching tree wins more games? The Pete Carroll, which is Panthers, Commies, and Cowboys, or the Nick Sirianni trio, Colts, Cardinals, Saints? I like
good question here.
That's a good one.
I'll jump in here.
Yeah.
I will go with the Pete Carroll one here because I think
going anti-Gannon.
Well, I think the two best teams of those six are Washington and Dallas. Now, we'll see about the Colts. We'll see about the Cardinals. I think the Saints are the worst team on that list. So if you just look at Super Bowl odds, Washington and Dallas are ahead of Colts and Cardinals. So I will go with the Pete Carroll tree.
Little stretch for Shoddy to be in a Pete Carroll tree, but
yeah,
for the sake of the exercise.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about this question from Joe Rockhead, who says, thoughts on Dallas talking crap about Q today?
So I quickly did a Google search, and it's a video that I can't watch, but apparently it looks like it was Micah Parsons in a golf cart with CeeDee Lamb, and he's talking about...
Oh, not Dallas Goedert. So Dallas Cowboys
not
player.
Dallas Goedert, couldn't tell what he said.
That's what happens when you draft players named Dallas, right? It creates that confusion.
Yeah, starting with the Dallas Reynolds fiasco all those years ago, much to Les's chagrin. Okay, round two of the Conflewdince game. I will go with. Which of those ones do you take? I will go ahead and take the Eagles winning Week 8 against the New York Giants, the second game against them in 3 weeks. Deeper enough into the season that they may have already made the switch to Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
So I will go with that one as my next pick.
It's I was going back and forth over which of those two games I would have higher. I actually ended up putting Week 6 ahead of it.
I could see that.
Short week,
which usually in theory you think gives the advantage more to the better team.
Yeah. Now the other thing is as well. The Eagles will be at home the previous week against Denver. The Giants are on a short week, but coming off a road game in New Orleans, and they have a pretty tough stretch to open the year, so things might already be spiraling for them.
Okay.
So that's why I did end up going.
And you're going to take that with your next pick?
So I'm going to take that with my next pick. We can just talk about the Eagles. Giants. I mean, there's a chance that the Giants come out and it's 2-8 to start the year. They've got a rough stretch to start. So there could be Jackson Dart time. I actually put that in my notes, exactly what you said, that this could be Jackson Dart against the Eagles.
But depressingly for Giants fans, they don't have a bye until week 14.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's the easy time to just pull the trigger, give the guy 1 week to prepare.
Schedule
makers do it.
Hate Brian Dable and Joe Shane, just not giving them any kind of lifeline there.
Yeah. All right, over to you, Zach.
Yeah, my 2 and 3 just went off the board. So I need to go with my 4 if I'm sticking to the board, and the playoff ones I really didn't account for well. So I'm going to go with my 4th, which is a win over the Pollyanna here is picking a win over Chicago on Black Friday.
Okay.
That is my 4th, and short week for both teams. The Eagles are home. Thanksgiving travel can be tough, right? So you got the Bears flying in on Thursday. I'm not in love with this Bears team. I think they made some decent moves this offseason, but in terms of like going, trying to fortify that offensive line, I like getting Jonah Jackson there. Joe Tooney's an upgrade, but even still, I still think they're a year away from where they should be, and I'm going with Eagles in this game.
What did you make of the excerpts from Seth Wickersham's book about Caleb Williams trying to get away from Chicago?
I can't wait for this book. I pre-ordered it the day it was available to be pre-ordered, and I expect nothing less from Seth's reporting. It doesn't surprise me now. If you read further in the excerpt, Caleb Williams told his dad that he's going to make it work in Chicago after visiting there. But it seemed pretty damning on that Bears organization, and something that I could have told you about based on the way things went last year.
Okay, you get to go again.
I get to go again, so I'm just gonna stay true to the board here, and
best pick available.
Yeah, another win. The Pollyanna over here going with
they're the Super Bowl favorites. It's fine.
Eagles Broncos. Yeah, Cuz is not gonna like this one. I'm not buying the Broncos.
No, neither am I.
I've been reading our friends at DNVR. They're raving about this defense. I don't think Zack Baun gives you like the best secondary in the NFL.
Nor does Fran.
Yeah.
The downgrade as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this. I think there could be some regression from Bo Nix. Now he played real well, late in the season, but I'm just not sold on this team overall. So, it's in Philly. I'm going with the Eagles in this one.
The 1:00 game. They got to come east for. Yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Vic Fangio revenge.
Yes,
that'll be a big topic.
70-20 when in Vic Fangio's last game against Denver.
Right. Wow.
So I can see Sirianni really laying on thick for Vic.
4 of Denver's first 6 games are away from Denver. They've got Joe Burrow the week before, so they're coming. It's a short week. It's because they played Monday night the previous week. So they've got Joe Burrow Monday night, then have to come east for the Broncos. Then they go to London the week after.
Oh, trap game.
So to me, this was high up on my board. So yeah, you sniped me on that one. All right, I'm gonna go week 10 win. Eagles win. Monday Night Football at Green Bay. I just think that they're going to have so much extra sugar, so much extra juice for all the tush push thing. Yeah, coming off the bye. Green Bay plays Carolina the week before at home, so they're coming the bye week before that. But to me, like the Eagles coming off the bye, I think Nick Sirianni they're gonna have some extra stuff ready for Green Bay just because of how that went.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, I will go. This is tough. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna say the Eagles are not gonna play in the NFC Championship game.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go with the DNP there.
Man, you were just gonna draw all the hate in the chat today.
Bring it on, baby. Well, ravishing Rick Rude heel turn. You sloppy losers can't handle the truth.
What's amazing about
Take a look at a real man.
You're doing this to win a game that we are not going to talk about for 365 days.
I gotta stay with what I think is gonna happen.
We don't even know the name of this game, and you're doing everything you can to play the odds in your favor. A game that you came up with.
Yes.
What's your next pick?
And then my next pick is going to be I'm gonna go Eagles win in Minnesota. Over JJ McCarthy.
That was my 18th one.
I think you picked it as a loss.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I respect Kevin O'Connell, but I don't expect huge things from JJ McCarthy. This is the Giants sandwich game. I'm going to take the Eagles to win that game.
In JJ McCarthy's life, he's lost
just a short life
as the starting quarterback. He's lost 3 games. His entire football, high school.
He's never lost a game in the NFL.
High school, college, lost 3 games.
Am I supposed to be impressed by that? He's played like 2 seasons.
JJ McCarthy? No, he was like a 3-year starter in high school. He was.
Wow. I mean, a first-round pick quarterback.
I mean, Michigan
should have a very good high school record.
Look at Michigan before and after. Like during, before, and after, it's a dramatic difference. He is a force multiplier. JJ McCarthy. There's a reason why.
Just because you say words doesn't make them true.
You can disagree with it, but he's the thermostat. Did you see him? Did you see him on the sideline?
It was freezing when they won 14 games last year.
Did you see him on the sideline of that Timberwolves game last night? No. He was sitting there with Justin Jefferson. Yeah.
The way you go. Well, that's all you need to know.
Already
was sitting with Justin Jefferson.
Already building the chemistry.
That's a win.
Already built the chemistry. Yeah. I'm bullish on Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy this year.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. That's fine. That's my pick. Over to you, Fran.
I'm going to go with a loss here.
First loss drafted.
Yeah. I'm going to go week 17 at Bills. It's late
It was the
December.
only loss on Zach's board.
Late December, 4:30 start at Buffalo. Wedged potentially between two important Washington games. Buffalo plays at Cleveland the week before. They've got the Jets the week after. If you're playing for home field advantage, I just think Josh Allen at home. That's tough.
Yeah, the Bills 12-1 in their past 3 Decembers. So that's a tough place to go. It's the Eagles' final visit to Highmark Stadium. Man, you see that? That was my 6th. I wanted to go with a loss here, but I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have them winning the wild card round of the postseason.
Okay,
good one. Yep.
Okay. I do think the Eagles are going to win the division this year.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be a home game.
First back-to-back.
I don't think they get the number 1 seed.
Right.
So I have them winning the wild card round.
I like that pick.
I had that. Yep. That would have been my next pick.
And I want to go them
right here, just in case.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I want to go with the loss somewhere, but I'm less confident in the losses here. So I am going to go with. I'm going to adjust my board.
Oh, no. You're
classic
reaching.
mistake.
Man.
This is like Fran going off, not taking Luther Burden. He's going to regret it for the rest of his life.
I can't go. I can't go all wins. I can't go all wins. I'm going to go a loss in Kansas City week 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, I expect to be favored in that game. The Chiefs were undefeated at Arrowhead last year. I think they're going to be ready for that game. I like Andy Reid and co. I think Kansas City's going to be better this year. I think Rashee Rice is going to make a major difference, assuming he's back by then. I think he's going to make a major difference to that offense. He was really ascending when he got hurt.
You're worried about the offensive line.
Sure, but I also trust Andy and Brett Veach in terms of I think they were ready to turn that position over. Now we'll see how their evaluations turn out, but they have a good track record there.
Okay. Over to you, Fran.
This is the classic. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have the same grade on the board. I don't know. I've got a win and I've got a loss.
Oh.
I don't have a lot of losses on the board though. So,
Pollyanna over there.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with this win. Let's go. Week 14, Monday Night Football at the Chargers.
Interesting.
Coming off the long week after Black Friday, so you get a couple extra days there. Not necessarily scared of the Chargers. I think just from a talent standpoint, and the Eagles. I think the fans travel well to that game. I think that'll be one of the big games from a travel standpoint. You're coming off the game at home against the Raiders. I like this. I like this here for the Chargers or for the Eagles against the Chargers.
Okay. I feel good about this one. I honestly wish I had drafted this one earlier, so I'm happy to have it. I am down on the Commanders this year. We don't know what's going to happen in Week 18 because who will have something to play for. So I feel very good about a win in Week 16 in Washington against a team that is a little bit over its skis and acting like it is a perennial Super Bowl contender and not counting on the fact that they had a bunch of lucky one-score game wins last year and a bunch of old guys who were healthy. Forfeiting early draft picks feels like bad process to me, so I'm betting against the Commanders there.
They have a very late bye, Washington. They have a bye in Week 14.
Same with the Giants, then.
Yeah. They play the Giants the week before. This one would have been one of my next picks.
All right, that will take us to the break. We're halfway through. Go through the second half on the other side. If you're looking for amazing deals and super low lease payments, Kia of CherryHill.com is the place to be. They're celebrating Memorial Day savings all month long on their massive selection of over 450 new Kias to choose from. They have over 40 Tellurides, over 100 Sportages, over 35 Carnivals, over 75 Seltos, and over 80 Souls. I've got to tell you, Kia is the hottest automotive brand in the country for a reason. 7 of their models received 2025 Car and Driver Editor's Choice Awards. That's amazing, considering there were more than 450 models tested and only 20 models industry-wide received that award. Combine that with the best warranty in the automotive business, 10 years, 100,000-mile powertrain, and 5 years, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper. Stop in today and tell them PHLY sent you, and you'll receive a $100 Restaurant.com gift card just for taking a test drive or completing a trade-in appraisal. I know people buy Kias elsewhere. I just don't know why. Drive home in your new Kia today, just minutes from all bridges, or available 24/7 online at KiaofCherryHill.com.
Julia, Fran, Bo, you guys have exciting
Zach.
anything exciting tomorrow night that you have on your schedule?
The exciting mics.
Okay, well, if you're looking for something fun to do, go to the Excite Center because Larry the Cable Guy is there tomorrow night. It's an evening with Larry the Cable Guy. On Saturday, it's a Parks Casino residency with Joey Diaz. Ashley McBride
JD
is going there on May 30th. You can't see Teresa Caputo on June 7th because she's already sold out. Okay, although we know someone there who can get you a ticket, I imagine. But June 27th, you can see Trevor Wallace and the Alpha Beta Male.
Both of them?
You got Gary Clark Jr. on July 3rd. I can keep going on. A 70th Celebration Vietnamese concert on July 19th. Anyways, there. Get excited, okay? Get excited. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a great place to. It's. Sorry. All right. The Excite Center at Parks Casino is one of many things I love about my casino of choice. Parks Casino is Pennsylvania's #1 casino.
What would your grandfather think?
It's so close to Philly. It's located in Bensalem. Take the Street Road exit off of I-95 and the PA Turnpike. It's the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parks Casino. That's the Excite Center. Named one of the best places to see the country's best comedians and music headliners. But, the great thing, too, is that it's not just entertainment. I love blackjack, and I can play it on my phone with the Bet Parks online casino app. That's why Bet Parks is my casino of choice. It's my grandfather's casino of choice. Make it your casino of choice, too. Visit parkscasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Pre-game the shows at their amazing beer garden. Play some pop culture slots, roulette, cards, and other table games you love while you wait. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Can you zoom in on my tears? Okay. Everybody settle down. I have a lot of questions that we'll ask after the show. Okay. I'm up. I got the first pick in the 6th round here. I'm going to go with a win week 3 at home against the Rams. I'm going to take the little schedule advantage with the Rams flying east for a 1:00 game. A redo of the snow game. Give me the Eagles over the Rams week 3.
So they play Tennessee in week 2 at Tennessee. I wonder if they'll stay the week. And also, if I remember right from last year, there was a number where McVay has been actually pretty good. It might be McVay and Stafford together, which is a small sample. So they've been a good team, but they've been really good on the East Coast 1:00 games. But
And Zach has intimated in the past that Nick Sirianni sort of has a bit of a chip on his shoulder about McVay. Like
about that tree. About that tree. I think.
Yeah,
I think he respects McVay. I think that tree.
It's not a personal thing. It's more just like this guy's always thought of as well. What has he done?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that defense could not stop the run last year, and I don't know that they've done anything this offseason to change that. So I like that one for you.
Okay, over to you, Fran.
I'll go with that one that was the loss for me. I'm going to go Week 11, Sunday Night Football against the Lions. You're coming off, you're coming off road Monday Night Football playoff rematch at Green Bay, which I picked that as a win earlier because I think that'll be emotionally charged. I think from an Eagles standpoint. Detroit, they're also coming off a little bit of an emotional game. They've got Washington the week before, who ousted them in the playoffs last year. So I guess you can go either way, but I do think that's going to be a tough game. Lions, let's go with the Lions there.
Okay. Will you guys get on him, please? He hates the Eagles. He's drafted 2 losses. Unbelievable.
You don't have them going to the NFC title game.
So? I didn't pick him to lose. All right, over to you, Zach.
Looking at the board here, both Giants games have been taken. You know what? I'm going to go with the Chargers game was taken too, correct?
Yes. But you're allowed to start picking opposite ones we've picked if you want to.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
So I will go with. I'm gonna go with a win at Lambeau.
Okay.
How about that?
That's a good pick, except that Fran made that his pick in the 3rd round.
Yep.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that one. Man, sorry about this.
This is like you taking Malachi Starks in the 4th round.
Yeah. Yeah. I will go.
The games that have been unpicked so far, for those following along, are Week 4 at Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Week 12 at Dallas. Week 18 at Washington. And the divisional round.
Sure.
But again, you can also start picking opposite things that have been drafted.
You know what? Let's go with a Week 18 win in Washington. Maybe the Eagles don't have something to play for. I think they might have to play for something.
Just for the
record. Yes, at home against Washington. Could be Tanner McKee, but I have the Eagles winning this game.
It'll be a win.
There you go.
Okay. You get to go again.
And so then I am going with a win in the divisional round. Let's have him going to the NFC Championship game this year. How about that?
Good for you. All right.
I'm up. I'm going to take Week 12, 425 game at Dallas. I think the Eagles get a W.
Oh.
Sweep the Cowboys. I feel great about Week 1. Do I think they'll sweep? You just finished that stretch of Green Bay, Monday Night Football, Detroit. I just had them as a loss in the previous my previous pick. I don't think this team will lose 2 in a row. Short week going to Dallas. Dallas is also coming off Monday Night Football on the road. So it's a short turnaround for them, coming off the road there. And then they're also entering a really tough stretch where they've got Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. Also, could that team be like completely compounding? Could they completely fold by that point? It's Week 12. That's right around the time when Dallas typically goes in the tank. Give me an Eagles win on the road in Dallas.
Okay. I'm going to go with my 7th round pick. I'm going to take the Week 4 game in Tampa. House of Horrors for the Eagles. I think they're going to be motivated to make sure that they don't get embarrassed down in Tampa again. I'm going to take a win Week 4 in Tampa. And then I'm going to go to the same game that Fran just drafted, and I'm going to take a loss in Dallas. I just think Dallas is going to be a little bit better this year, and that is a place where the Eagles have struggled historically. If Dak is healthy, I'm going to say the Eagles lose in Dallas. I think
you're right that Dallas probably is a little bit better this year, and they probably just lose by a combined 30 points as opposed to a combined 60 points.
There you go. Games. Okay, back to you.
This is a tough one. All right, I'm going to go wild card round. Eagles don't play.
Don't play. This is good. You get it both ways.
Yeah.
Either the 1 seed or they don't make the playoffs.
I'm going to go wild card round. Eagles do not play.
Okay. Savvy.
What was the result picked in the Detroit game?
Fran drafted a
Eagles
loss.
Okay, I concur. So let's go with a loss in Minnesota, right? I'm pushing I'm pushing my cards in the table.
Force
Quessy,
multiplier.
yeah, Quessy, smart GM, born right over there. Okay,
I think you got that one.
I did. Cherry Hill's right
2
over
for 2
there.
today.
Yep.
Yeah, Quessy, respect what he's done. Princeton educator, by the way. Okay,
Picked a quarterback never loses.
and then Kevin O'Connell is a proven coach. I like that talent there. The Eagles coming off a win over the Giants, lose to the Vikings there. And then I'm going with, my losses. I have the loss at Dallas, the loss Detroit, the loss KC, the loss Minnesota, the loss Buffalo. So all my losses have been claimed. What losses were picked elsewhere?
I picked losing to the Bills.
That's the only other one you can draft.
Chiefs, yeah, right.
So then what am I disagreeing with here?
You can pick a loss. You
can
pick a win that you think is going to be a loss.
Okay, a win that could be a loss.
Or you could pick a win in the championship game or a loss in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you know what though? You know what? How about this? I will go with a loss to I'll go with a loss to the Chargers. How about that? Another team that I like.
Here you go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I do think the Eagles win that game, but I think that's an underrated Super Bowl contender this year. I like what Jim Harbaugh's been building. I like Justin Herbert. That's a good group there. So I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay. I like that. Over to you, Fran.
My math says we were done.
No, we're going 10 picks.
Oh, all right. So what I have
You get 2 more picks, but 1 right now.
All right. All right. So then I'm
sorry.
Looking around. Give me a second.
So I'll so far.
Yep. Go ahead.
Week 1, Dallas, you have drafted as a win. Week 2, Kansas City, Zach has drafted as a loss. Week 3, the Rams, I have drafted as a win. Week 4, Tampa, I have drafted as a win. Week 5, Denver, Zach has drafted as a win. Week 6, Giants, you have drafted as a win. Week 7, Minnesota, I have drafted as a win. Zach has drafted as a loss. Week 8, the Giants, I have drafted as a win. Week 10, the Packers, Fran has drafted as a win. 11, Detroit, you have drafted as a loss. Week 12, Dallas, you have drafted as a win. I have drafted as a loss. Week 13, Chicago, Zach has drafted as a win. Week 14, Chargers, Zach has drafted as a loss. You have drafted as a win. Week 15, Raiders, Zach drafted as a win. Week 16, Washington, I drafted as a win. Week 17, Buffalo, you drafted as a loss. Week 18, Washington, Zach drafted as a win. Week wild card round, Zach drafted as a win. You drafted as a DNP. Divisional round, Zach drafted as a win, and then I drafted both the championship game and the Super Bowl as don't play.
That was really tough to follow, but I
mean, it was chronological.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to throw the challenge flag on your. I'll go opposite your Week 4 outcome. The House of Horrors for the Eagles down in Tampa Bay. They struggle down there with the Bucs again and come over with a loss.
Got it. Okay. And now I will close it out with I'm going to throw the challenge flag on your Sunday Night Football game against the Lions at home. I'm going to say the Eagles win that game against Brad Holmes, even though he's a very smart guy who went to North Carolina A&T.
Yes.
I'm taking the Eagles to win that game. And then I'm going to go, since I have them, you know what? I was going to go loss in the divisional round since I have them not playing in the championship game. But instead, I'm going to say they win in Buffalo, Week 17. So there you go. Now I'm the Pollyanna.
I'll have the Eagles win the NFC Championship game.
Nice. All right, Zach, you close us out.
Am I allowed to pick against myself and get both outcomes?
Where's that? If you can live with yourself.
All right, I won't do that. Let's have a loss then in. You know what? Actually, let's have a win against Dallas. When they're out there. Oh, sorry. Okay, so then let's have a loss in Lambeau Field.
Okay,
how about that?
That's a good one.
Yep.
And that'd be a great game for fans to go to as well. Get a chance to see Lambeau Field.
Good tease, which we may get to in overtime. Zach, I think we really got in your head with the Pollyanna thing because you drafted way more losses than anybody else. You drafted 4 losses for the Super Bowl favorite Philadelphia Eagles. You have a loss: Kansas City, Minnesota, Green Bay, and the Chargers. But you also have them winning the wild card round and the divisional round, and against Washington in Week 18, the Raiders, the Bears, and the Broncos.
I have them finishing the season 12-5 in my predictions on allphly.com. I did not predict playoffs, but if I did, I would have them going to the championship game and losing in Detroit to the Lions.
There you go. You could have drafted a loss in the championship game. That's okay.
Didn't I pick? Okay, yeah, I could have done that.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say his picks are just setting the table for an underdog story for the Eagles winning a Super Bowl and him writing a full length book.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Trying to stay married this year. That's a goal of mine.
Fran, you drafted wins against the Cowboys in Week 1, the Giants in Week 6, the Packers, the Cowboys in Week 12, the Chargers, and the NFC Championship game. But you also have a don't play in the wild card round and a loss to the Bills, Lions, and Bucks. Whereas I have the Eagles not playing in the championship game or the Super Bowl, but I have drafted only 1 loss, and that's in Dallas. Otherwise, I have wins against the Rams, Bucks, Vikings, Giants, Lions, Commanders in Week 16, and Bills. So there you go. What a ride. Fantastic. Good stuff. How do you guys feel about your rosters? Where do you think this ranks among all the pantheon of important PHLY games?
I would say it's not going to keep you up at night, but I don't want to be.
No, that's not true.
I don't want to be disingenuous. It probably will keep me up at night.
What about it will keep you up at night?
Yeah, but no, this was a fun game. It was a fun outcome.
I agree.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Do we have any more super chats to get to? Polar Jam. What an exciting ad read.
Sorry, look, honestly, let me just do make a Bet Parks Casino is an awesome place. I'm saying that because I've been there. My grandfather goes there. I play online games on their app. They have some exciting events at the Excite Center, so definitely check that out. It was Bo's reaction when I shouldn't blame Bo.
Don't blame it on me.
I shouldn't blame Bo. It was sorry. This is like I'm like a second grader. You're not.
I'm so sorry. He made me do it.
You're right. That was on me. I should have. I anticipated when I brought up the Vietnamese celebration that it was gonna. I don't know why, but. And the thing is I love Vietnamese culture too. So I don't know why that made me laugh, but awesome. It's an awesome place, Bet Parks. Make sure you check that out.
Polar Jam also says, J.J. McCarthy never won in the NFL. Tanner McKee is undefeated in the NFL.
Accurate.
There you go.
Yeah, but he only played at Stanford.
That means he's smarter, right? But other people have it better than him. Julia, we're trying to do a show. All right, here's the deal. We heard your feedback about where we should send the PHLY crew for the one Eagles road trip game of the season that you can enter to join us for. And we will tell you where it is that you can go and where you can go to sign up in
overtime.
allpHLY.com/PST fan sweeps. All one word. That's where you're going to go. We're not asking for too much here. We're not asking you to buy 10 copies of Zach's book, kill Fran's groundhog around his house, all that stuff.
I'll take that, though.
None of that. All you got to do is go to allphly.com/PST fan sweeps and enter the contest, read the rules, enter the contest, and just submit your name, phone number, and email. And if you win, which will be announced in early June, this contest is live from now until the end of the month. And And I do need to remind you that these flights will be leaving from Philadelphia. So you need to be on that. You need to be in Philadelphia to join the flight. And where will we be going? We're going to Green Bay, of course. Lambeau Field. What can be better than that? Nothing more romantic than a trip to Green Bay to see a football game in prime time in Lambeau Field in November. Ooh, got the chills just thinking about it.
Lambeau memories. What comes to mind for you?
I've been fortunate to have a few trips to Lambeau.
Yes.
To me, the best thing about Lambeau is just you don't see the stadium. You don't know where you're going. You're in this neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you turn a corner, and there it is. Like just this paragon of football history. And it's beautiful. It absolutely delivers. Everything about it. You can walk around. You do the tailgate. I went to a snow game in Lambeau, night games in Lambeau. I love it. Fantastic.
You guys have had some great post-game pods from driving from Lambeau.
Yeah,
We did one. Bo and me did
while
one.
we were in the car and it was raining.
Great one.
Yeah, that was
Classic.
that was a classic. That was the Derek Barnett roughing the passer games. It was a Thursday night football game. Was it Nigel Bradham with the game-winning interception?
Yes.
Yep, that was a fun one. And we had our long drive from Madison where he took a nice little snooze.
Yeah, that milkshake did a number on me. I knocked me out.
That was fun. That was a great trip.
An 11 a.m. milkshake or a noon milkshake is put me right to sleep.
It was like our first. It was like a weekend getaway with someone you've just started dating.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
It was the very beginning in the relationship between Zach and me.
Yeah, I learned a lot about Bo on that trip.
What was the number one thing you learned about Bo?
This guy walks so fast. I remember in the Madison airport, like my calves were hurting by the end of the in terms of getting to the rental car, and then also they weren't actually hurting. It was just I just remember how fast you were walking, and then
I'm a nationally ranked crowd walker. That's true.
And then we got a pickup truck. We got a pickup truck at the car rental. Yeah, and Bo just dominated that pickup truck, right?
Just bang that thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, was so he took it as a compliment that they gave him the pickup truck. I sent a message to Chris Maragos, where should we eat? Flex. And then Bo was like, oh, what a flex this is.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I was like,
that sounds
he's like, I had never been to Madison. I had heard great things. I sent Chris Maragos a quick message saying, where do you recommend? And so I thought like Bo would be impressed that I had some Madison intel. And instead, Bo was like, oh, you think you're fancy because you have Chris Maragos sexing into this, right?
That tracks.
Yeah. Had a nice dinner. Went to a bar afterwards for Wisconsin Old Fashions.
Right.
That was a nice place.
Yeah. We stopped at a cheese shop. Bo was great at the cheese shop. Knew like the different types of cheeses.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. We went to the.
I don't think we bought any cheese, did we?
No, there was like sampling cheeses.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we went to the bookstore, got presents for our kids.
Yeah, I remember.
Played Papa Shot. Both dominated at that too. You remember
There's
that?
a bar that had popcorn. Love a bar with popcorn.
Yes, like the Ground Round growing up. Which they're bringing back, by the way. There's one Ground Round opening. And then we went to
Where's the ground
round of rebound?
It's in like rural Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm trying
to rent a pickup truck and get up there.
So I can keep going. So then we went for this famous like breakfast place where
this is where it all happened.
Huge omelet with milkshake and
it was like an Andy Staples. He was in his piece or something.
Yes,
like that.
exactly.
Okay, got it. Yep.
And so then we get in the car and Bo and I were listening to a podcast and I'm like, Bo, I'm sorry. Would you be offended if I just took a nap here? And then
it means you're comfortable. It's good.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just exhausted at that point. And then we went to we covered the game, wrote the stories. We didn't leave the stadium until 4 a.m. We drove right to the Appleton airport. Got on the Apple. Yeah. So it was a nice trip.
And we saw Biz Marquee in the security line.
There?
Yes.
That was Rochester. Did we see him at both places? Twice. Okay.
I've seen Bismarcky twice.
The
at the
morning
airport.
after an Eagles primetime game on the road, twice saw Bismarcky, who had TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
Did you have what he needed?
Good thing about Bismarcky, he's now eligible for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
So yeah, that was a Lambeau memory. I have a number of Lambeau memories. Most of them with Jeff McClain. No, I covered one Eagles-Packers game with you. I covered about 4 Eagles-Packers games with Jeff McClain. Did the drive up one time. There's some good memories. There's a self-deprecating memory in there that Jeff always reminds me of.
What's that?
We're in overtime, so I suppose I'll say it. This is my first time in Lambeau, so 2013. Micah, I don't know if it was Micah Hyde. I think Micah Hyde had
Punt return touchdown.
Yes, yeah, Micah Hyde. Okay, and so before we get there early, because I want to go to the museum, and so Jeff was very accommodating. Okay, he had been to Lambeau. I hadn't at that point, so we get there early. We walk to the museum. I get up to the counter, and they're like $20. Like $20. And I was about to turn around, and Jeff's like, "You can't turn around. We've been talking about this." So I'm like, "All right, fine." So then, yeah, paid, and it was cool going to the museum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that overtime is where you feel comfortable really letting yourself.
I mean,
loose.
I'm trying to take some pizza advice. People want me to share more about myself, so that's something I shared.
Do you have any Lambeau memories?
I've never
You
been.
to go?
Yeah, I've never been to Lambeau.
Ooh, maybe you should get on this trip.
I might have to take it up on it.
Okay.
We'll see.
What else you guys want to talk about?
Did you know when Zach took that nap that would be the only nap he would take for the next 10 years?
No, I didn't. I think it was too early in our relationship to know that how out of character that was for him. Yeah.
Wow.
That milkshake did me in. It was.
What was the milkshake? What? It was just a.
I think a black and white milkshake,
Okay.
if memory serves.
I believe I remember that we were listening to, we were listening to other athletic podcasts to see how they were doing, and there was one that was particularly boring enough to get you to go to sleep.
No, because we were listening actually to. That's not the podcast we were listening to.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember the podcast we listened to.
What was it?
I don't want to say the person put me to sleep.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an NBA podcast.
Okay.
It wasn't Zach Lowe, but it was Zach Lowe was with somebody.
Okay.
So Zach Lowe didn't put me to sleep, but the person Zach Lowe was with put me to
Got
sleep.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the milkshake put me to sleep, if I'm being honest with you.
All right. Do we have any more super chats? No. You losers. One person says the Eagles aren't going to go to the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, you can't buy a super chat. Oh my gosh.
Tired today. Need to get sleep tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Last night?
Yeah, late night last night.
You did your writing beforehand.
I know.
We finished the show at 9:30 or 9 o'clock or so. You must have got home a little bit before 10.
Yeah, I got home at 9:45. Specifically.
Did you stay
I
up for the
remember.
basketball games? Was that the problem?
It was on in the background. I was doing some work.
Okay.
So I came into bed at 1 and then was up at 5:30 this morning. So
How about you?
A little before midnight went up.
Do you see an uptick in your sleep?
Oh yeah, I've been doing a much better job. The last couple nights, because so the final 3 episodes of Andor came out 2 nights ago, so I knocked those out. That kept me up till a little after midnight
In one
2 nights
sitting?
ago. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I
Because you
got
didn't
just
want to
knock
see
it out.
spoilers.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no, it's
These hour-long episodes?
You know how it is. It's like some of them might be 48. Some of them might be 57. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna bang out 3 hours.
I know. Yeah. So I knew what I was getting into going into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm doing like 7 hours a night.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
Trying to.
how's your sleep these days?
Not as bad as I was expecting yet.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But Leah's been doing for the most part a very good job. Two 3 hour stretches, relatively restful. So every now and then I get a nice little snuggle. She sleeps on my chest on the couch in the middle of the night. I get to watch a little bit of The Pit.
Nice.
But
The Pit. You like it?
I like The Pit. Yeah.
Vince recommended it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, Vince said I should watch it with Emily. Is it a couple show or is it a?
I mean, it's not a romantic show.
No.
It depends if she's squeamish about like the things that they do in an ER. But it's a good show. Yeah, I like it. It's fast paced. Noah Wiley is just killing it. It's basically a superhero show with him as the superhero.
Okay. It's the director from The West Wing. That's why Vince recommended it.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Then you have to.
A lot of walk and talks?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit along those lines. It's fast paced.
Good.
It's good. Okay.
Who is the better sleeper between Casey and Jane? And where's Leah?
Jane was not a good sleeper.
Got it.
And Jane was very loud. Jane was like very loud as a crier. Like we never needed a monitor with Jane. You could hear her anywhere in the house. Whereas Leah is funny. She is the loudest in terms of the noises that her body makes.
Okay.
Like she a lot of snorts, a lot of grunts coming out of her that are just very funny. So she's winning us over that way.
Nice.
And Casey was a good sleeper most of the time, I would say. Yeah. Which has continued. What's with Francis and Reed? Is it tough to get them to sleep and then tough to get them out of the bed in the morning? What are we talking?
Yes. So I do wake up. I do I'm the morning routine person. So like I am much more strict when it comes to like bedtime because I'm the one that has to.
Right.
I gotta go. So yeah, he is, but he's a morning person too. And he's gotten into a good routine now where it's like, all right, I'll come in, I'll turn the light on. Your clothes are already laid out. You get ready. I'll take care of the dog. That's the thing is I got to take care of the dog. Yeah. She's on the naughty list right now. So yeah. But Francis will get up and get going. But now
you will turn the lights on. And he will just get it done. Himself.
Because basically what I'll say is, hey, if you get up and get ready on your own, you can watch an episode of TV before we go to school, or like we'll do breakfast before we go, like that kind of thing. But he's on the weekends, like he'll say like during the week, like, oh, I'm tired, but then the weekends he's up at like 6:15. I'm like, dude, like this is when we sleep in. We don't need to get up right now. But
does he fall asleep okay?
Most nights he'll stay up and party like all night. Like if we let him, like he will stay up and watch whatever we're watching at night. So yeah.
How about Reed?
Emily has them trained to like they are like by the minute, now. And this is what happens is that so Tuesday night Emily was out late and I put them to sleep and I let them stay up like 15 extra minutes. And then the next morning, Emily was like, "You let them stay up, didn't you?" Like she, because they are but Reed's very good about like he gets up, he jumps out of bed, but he needs to know the exact score of the games the night before, like not. So I'll tell him the Timberwolves won, and he'll say, "What's the score?" And I'll say, "I don't know the score." It's like, how don't you know the score? He needs to know the exact score of the game. So he's really into the T-Wolves right now.
Oh, it's a fun team.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is like the most exciting player for kids to watch.
Hard to argue.
Yeah,
flying around. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Casey is like it takes him forever to fall asleep. He would stay up all night.
Yeah,
and then like me, it's like you got to drag him out of bed.
Right.
Unless it's the weekend when he's
ready to have fun.
Sounds like it. That's okay. There you go. All right. Well, I think we had a super chat that came in.
I think I saw one. Yeah.
Joe Rockhead. We're not losers. You're the loser. Love you guys.
Thanks, Joe. Love you too.
I know that's right. Thank you, Joe. And thank you to everybody else for watching and listening to this episode. We're back tomorrow, 2:00. Zach and the professor is back. He's making all the rounds on podcasts this week. We might have to flagellate him for that. But we'll get there when we get there. Thank you, Fran. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep.
And we will talk to all of you sickos tomorrow. As always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.